Okay, guys, so what we're going to go over right now is a second 9 weeks assessment. First of all, I want to point out that this test had 24 questions, and I'm going to refer back to the post with the pineapples, remember? Each one of those sheets gave specific pages. You know, it's just one page has the answer key, which you'll see that's what this is right here. This test was broken up into 3 different sections. These are the 3 sections right here. The first one is over genres, second's literary text, third is informational text. That's how that was broken up. So you'll also see a 1, 2, and a 3. I'm just kind of showing this for examples, but you definitely need to refer back to your post with the pineapples. And hold on one second. Okay, so one of the pages I'm showing the learning standards, and each one of those on the answer key shows you, see where it says like 7.2b, using such items as compare contrast. 7.2c, determining the meaning, usage, blah, blah, blah. 7.5g, evaluating details. It goes all of these are the learning teaks. And see, remember the stuff on the board that I was showing you? I took a picture of that as well. It all correlates the same. That top one in black was from the first. The ones in red were from the second. And now I've gone back and put a check mark in blue. So all of these are the learning standards that are on that test. Now you'll notice on the answer key, it actually shows which teak that number represented. So when you're going back over and seeing which ones you got correct and which ones you got wrong, you can look back and say, okay, if I missed number 2, okay, that goes with this learning standard. It also shows which section it goes with. So then you can go back and say, okay, I missed X amount. So many came from this standard. Okay, well, you know, I missed a lot from section 3. Well, if you did that, that means that you need to go over information. You're going to be going over informational text, which in y'all's case is great because this whole 9 weeks that we have left, because we actually have 10 weeks. So this week starts, you know, our 9 weeks left. We're digging deep into argumentative text and then informational text. So we're going to be having a review. A lot of this, like I said, just keeps overlapping. So this page that goes, you know, this is super important, okay? This page right here where I'm not talking about trying to read it while this is moving. I'm talking about going back and looking at the pineapple post, okay? But, well, that way you can actually see. You'll be able to look just based on the answer key that I'm showing as an example. Now, the one that is on y'all's example is one of our students who scored 82%, which was great. Because even those that, honestly, even those that were failing were still, well, sadly, but that is exactly where basically from the district and in the campus, that's basically where everyone is at. There was only a few that have a 73 or higher. That's why this answer key, now, the one that you see on the pineapple post, you might not see all these little highlights and stuff. This was just for me to go back and say, okay, this is how many were from section 3. This is how many were from section 2. This is how many were from section 1. Because like I said, they were all broken up into 3 different sections. So like you can see right here, just from my handwriting, on number 9, See, it's showing that came from the TEK 7.6C. It also came from section 3, and the correct answer was D. So what I'm wanting you to do is take this information that you're listening to from me right now and use it to help you study better. Now, I know some of you are just going to click on this and say, yep, I watched this, and you didn't watch it. I know some of you are, but I'm telling you, everybody needs to listen and go back to the Pineapple Post. Look at each of those pages. Refer back to what when you took the test, oh, okay, wait a minute. I remember I marked this answer, but now I know what the correct answer is. Now, in this movie thing I'm doing right now, I'm going to go over the questions. Now, this started with number 1. This was over informational text. Urban backyard chickens. It starts off with, when you think of city life, chickens often are not the first things that come to mind. However, you may be surprised. Okay, now, this is the first paragraph that goes along with your first question, okay? So it shows at the very bottom, sorry, and where I'm recording, it's actually blocking over some of this, so I apologize. But basically, the very last sentence, it's saying that what was formerly prohibited, okay? So when you stop and say something that was formerly prohibited, this right here alone, well, if you already know what the word prohibited means, then on your number 1 question, which if you just immediately went to the question before you begin to even read the first paragraph, which I've told many times, it's a good test-taking skill. You go back to the questions first, okay? If you knew what prohibited meant, it said the words to keep off. It spoke about, hey, where did the origin of the word prohibit come from? If you know what the word means, you're going to automatically look at those answer choices and see that prohibited was the only one that made sense, okay? But which means, well, I don't have the thing right in front of me. Hold on one second. Okay, so for prohibited, the answer choice was not permitted, okay? Now, if you did not know automatically what prohibited meant, or you were not having luck with recognizing that it's saying to keep off, just from the clues that they gave you, then this is when you would go back to this paragraph, and you'll notice that where it says at the very last sentence, they speak about how now they're able to do something, but something they were formerly unable to do. Okay? This is, context clues, guys. Okay? So this, number 1, your correct choice was G. My apologies, C. So the Texas Essential Skills and Knowledge TEK was 7.2C, and it came from understanding section 1. Remember, they're broken up in 3 different sections. This one had to do with section 1. Okay, now this next one is, what was the author's main reason for including paragraph 1? It was most likely to, well, when we go back and look at our answer choices, at the beginning, there wasn't any shocking fact, okay? And, you'll see, even at the beginning, when you think of city life, chickens are often not, okay. However, you may be surprised. This is just the The only one that makes sense is the last answer choice, which I fixed to show you right here. So the answer to number 2 is J. And it comes from the TEK 7.9. And it comes from section 3. So that's 7.9A is the TEK, and it's over section 3, Understanding and Analysis of Informational Text. All right, and number 3, you're going to have to choose the best 3 answers, actually the only 3 correct answers, which those are A, C, and D. This came from section 3, and it came from TEK 7.5F. You'll notice that it never said anything about letting all the neighbors know about the bird flu. It also never said anything about vegetarians. And then it also never mentioned anything about, registering the chicken for obedience training. Remember, this was saying that the author wanted to know which of the following should be considered before you're going to get chickens, okay? All right, now we're going to be moving on to number 4 next. The correct choice is G. It came from section 1, and it's over TEK 7.2B. I cannot stress how important it is for y'all to go back to the page. Again, let me repeat, the post with the pineapples. I know it's a lot of pages to click on, but I did that for a reason. I did not take time to do that for my health. I did that so you could go back and see what these TEKs are. This is what you are supposed to be able to do this 9 weeks. These are your learning standards. So you need to get familiar with them and understand what they are. So that way when I'm telling you which answer corresponds to which TEK, your Texas Essential Skills and Knowledge, you're going to be like, it's going to make a light bulb moment go off. You're going to say, okay, now I get, this is why they're pulling these questions, because these were the TEKs I was supposed to be learning over. And if, like I said, there was only like 3 or 4 people that even had a 70 or above. Do you understand that? Out of everyone. So I'm telling you, everyone else, y'all are all in the same boat. You're doing the same as basically the district is doing, plus, as a campus, but that's not good enough. We're not going to settle for average, okay? We're going to get above average, period. So like I mentioned, which word from paragraph 2 and 3 helps the reader understand the word drawback? So this one is G. When you simply, some of you could tell by just, reading this, that negative is the only one that's going to have it's the only one that even makes sense. But if that's not good enough for you, and you're not familiar with knowing what drawback means, that it is something that would be, negative, then you can go back and review over that. And it also, says whenever you're reading that paragraph 2 and 3, I might like to raise